opening statement is his definition of what he's defining as being falsehood. And I don't know if the English quite conveys it, but it says this is talking what is considered to be an offence. What's meant by offence? Whenever you hear this, he's putting the frame of offence. He's just saying, you understand that there's the boundaries of the law. So he's not going into what the law is. We say time and again, don't we, guys? You have to learn the fiqh. It's very, very important. There's no spirituality without fiqh. And then he actually gives some specific examples. And it's interesting, one of the first things he says is women's states. He's not talking about women, all right? He's not saying, oh, gossiping women or something like that. No. What is he saying? You take this world we're in now, which has enabled us to gossip on scales that are unprecedented. How much of that is centered around women figures? You can have natural disaster as one headline, and literally right next to it, you have Kardashian. I mean, that says something, doesn't it? So we get that as a definition. Right, what else? The degrees of corrupt people. You're basically talking about corrupt people and how corrupt they are. There's a lauding that kind of happens in the circles that aren't in those circles. Dangerously, you can feel important by talking about criminality. It's one thing that something's right in front of you and it's in your community, and then you're needing to talk about it. And so there you're addressing an ill that needs to be addressed. So that's got a purpose, without a doubt. That's not excessive. But where it can be is that if you're just going to sit there and talk about these kind of highfalutin gangsters, or whatever you want to call them, and out of that you get this sense of significance. These points here are in the negative. They're being stated as the negative, as a contravening of the sacred law. Not that you cannot talk about these topics within the sacred law in a certain context. Don't look at these exact examples at all time, every place, any scenario, you're violating the sacred law. That's not what he's saying. He's saying that these are situational events that will often lead to the violation of, because they're spoken with certain motivations and with utter, like, you got no relevance to it. What was the proposed cure for this? So, as a way of not entering gossip, you're staying occupied. And occupied in what sense? You know what this comes down to? Knowing your priorities. And you've got to let those be the things you focus on. That's what we should always understand, that when we dissect and come to know what a defect is and why it becomes so important that we try and figure that out now, is because we are recognizing that if we don't, we're actually harming ourselves massively in not coming to know our purpose here in a realized way, which is knowing Allah.